After Sports. We talk about the real stuff of the sports world and anything goes. Are you ready? Let me introduce former NFL coach Kirk Broussard, former CFL coach and pro coach Chris Williams, and myself, Tracy Lynn. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and wherever you get your podcasts on all major platforms. Good evening and welcome to the Play Callers podcast. It is Monday night and we have a show for you, so you definitely want to stick around if you have any questions for any of the coaches or for our guests that I'm going to introduce in just a few moments. Please comment, chime in. We're talking sports tonight. As always, two gentlemen that I'm so proud to always be on the show with. It is Coach Kirk Broussard and Coach Chris Williams. Hello, gentlemen. How are you?
Hey, Tracy. How are you?
What's going on, Coach?
How you doing, Coach?
Good, man.
You guys survived.
You look kind of slim. You still got your workout going?
I just got off the bike 20 minutes ago, man.
You looking like a wide receiver, man.
Yeah, you might have to share some fitness tips. I got to get back into shape. I got to do something. Man. As you could tell, I don't have a drink. I'm not indulging.
Wow.
I know.
What? Why? Why no drink?
I'm going to take a little bit of a break.
Taking a break. Okay.
Yeah, they call it dry February or something.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a dry Monday. Let's just put it that way. It is a dry Monday. Or I just ran out of time to go to the store. You guys can figure that out. But anyways, let's get to the show. We have a special guest. So our lineup is we have an interview. Joining us is Master Teague III. He played for Ohio State Buckeyes. He's the 2022 NFL Draft prospect. We're going to talk about the Pro Bowl. We're going to go through Super Bowl predictions and a couple other headlines. But in the meantime, let's get to our guest. As I said, Master Teague. Welcome to the Play Callers podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here with you guys.
We are glad that you could join us. Now, I listened to your speech when you were speaking to a group of us with Rachel Barbeau from I'm Changing the Narrative. And I was so inspired by your talk. And that's why I wanted to share with the gentlemen here at the Play Callers pod and our audience. You talk about overcoming injury. You're now a 2022 NFL draft prospect. Tell us about the mindset and this journey to get to today.
Yeah, it's just being consistent, always looking forward and not necessarily looking forward in the sense that you forget about the moment, but I think it's also, of course, has to do a lot with my faith and understanding that it's not a coincidence that I go through certain things. I don't believe anything in this life, is a coincidence. And so I just take it and, allow it to grow me, allow it to shape me and form me into somebody that I want to be as a man, not only as a player, but as a man. And, it also helps me to go through, an experience that I may go through and have a story to tell to help somebody else to go through it as well. You don't want to be the person that went through something and it caused you to stop and just to give up. That's not something you want to share with people that I want to share with my, future wife and kids or whatever. I want to, show them and tell them, how I was able to stand firm and persevere and overcome and, get out on the other side. And that's going to be, I want to set the example as a person in society, as a man in my family and everything. So those things also, think about those things in those situations, but definitely just leaning on the Lord and understanding that, he's going to finish the good work within me. Everything is going to work out, the way that he desires. And if I, stay in the word and stay in prayer and get counseling and trust in him, is, his way is the best way. So, whatever that looks like, sometimes we don't understand it, but we go through it and look back and we can see how the Lord, really helped us through the journeys. And so that's what I can say about that.
Well, you're definitely very inspiring, and I do follow you on your socials. We will post all your links as well, and we're going to be rooting for you. That's for
Appreciate
sure.
it.
Coach
Appreciate
Kirk
it.
Broussard, Master T is all yours.
Yeah. Welcome to the show, Master. Appreciate having you on. And my first question, I have a few questions actually, but the first thing I'd like to ask you is, for those that watch the show that are aspiring to be in your position, that potentially, are going to be Division I athletes or potentially may have an opportunity to prepare for the NFL draft, but kind of, they're kind of blinded in it now and would like to know what to expect. What's your day like in Texas preparing for the draft? Like, when do you wake up? What do you put in your body?
Mhm.
What is that process like with preparing for, the combine, pro days? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, even before you even get there, you start the journey. I mean, the way that whatever situation or season that the person is in, before they're able to even get into that season of going into the draft or whatever, you got to be disciplined and consistent again with your training and with the coaches and whoever you're involved with in your program, and you got to for me, watching what you put in your body, taking care of your body as much as you can, because your body's important and that's really your business. That's really your business. So whatever you can do to make sure that you're healthy is important. But for me here is every day, pretty much 6 times a week, we working out. It's a couple times. I was telling Tracy, we work out a couple times a day or 2 times a day. A couple of those days in there, we have like a recovery or massage or whatever. Have a chef, so we personalize meals to each guy, depending on what their needs are, what their body weight, goal, body fat percentage, whatever. You have those meals that you eat, um, and so you have that every week, and then like I said, we have the recovery stuff, and so I get up. I do my. I get up usually around 7:45 each day, and then I eat breakfast or whatever, and then I head over. Usually Mondays, Wednesdays, well, every day now, but I really work with the physical therapist Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays to really work on just maintenance, body maintenance, things I need to work on, my core, or whatever it is. Just to be ready for the day. I do this thing called wake up drills where I don't know if you ever heard of them, but it's wake up drills when you like hit certain parts of your body. Breathe out your stomach, breathe in your stomach and breathe out slow. And it just helps you wake up your whole body to be prepared for the workout. But, it's definitely a grind. It's like every day we're running, every day we're doing something, strenuous on your body. So it's really important. I love getting in those hot tank, cold tanks too, contrasting. I do that pretty much every day. Hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, back and forth. But and then just in my free time, I'm not really doing too much, but relaxing because I know I'm going to have to get back out there and start running again, here in a little bit. So, um, but it's rewarding. I'm glad I came out here, and like I said, I think I'm getting good work and seeing improvements and like building relationships and everything. But just keeping uh, your gaze forward and just working on your craft and continuing just to get better day by day, and not really you know just be in the moment. I would say, be in the moment or where you're at. Be faithful to the situation you're in, the season you're in, and give your all to that season, and that will prepare you for the next season. If you want to go into the league, if you be faithful in the season you are now, it's going to help you to do that, go on that next level. So
Yeah.
that's what I would say.
Nice. Well, it sounds like you're on the right track, man. And that kind of leads me into my next question. What is it? So are there any elements of training in Texas in that facility that actually prepares you for the day in the life of an NFL running back? Being in a running back room. I spent time with the Vikings, the Lions, the Bills, as in the running back room. So I have a pretty good understanding of what a day-to-day install is like. Is there any prep work that teaches you, just how to be a pro, and what is that experience like, or what you need to prepare for on a day-to-day basis of being a pro? Like, for instance, is there a coach that is a part of the facility that has been an NFL running back that's giving you that insight of what you need to be thinking about on a day-to-day basis of being a pro, what an NFL install looks like on a day-to-day basis? Do you have that at your access as well?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's also, we have a well, first of all, on the field we have a coach that works with us, specifically running backs, and that we work on, different drills and footwork and, getting your hips moving and everything and making cuts and things. But then we have a coach we go on the board with. We have an IQ coach where he goes through, some of the terminology that the league likes to use on certain plays. And we watch film, like we watched film today, and he just gives us a kind of a rundown of, what it may look like, what's expected of you, or even like the fines, like these fines that guys get coming out of the locker room. You got your sock, you got the wrong sock on, or you got the sock up a little bit longer, or whatever it is. Boom, they're pretty much monitoring everything and got eyes on you with everything. So nothing goes unseen pretty much. And so we're working with him. He's been really good. And so I think it's really going to help us just to, begin to think about those things. And the funny thing is, a lot of the stuff we're learning on the board is really similar to what I already know. That things that we ran in college is just the terminology. That's the difference of it. But yeah, we do have that, and it's been working great so far. So, and that's an important thing to know, because if you don't know what you're doing on the field, you can't play fast. So you want to play fast for sure.
Yeah. So coming from college, you guys oftentimes look over to the sideline and get the play. So is there someone calling an NFL play in the huddle so you can get an understanding of, how to process that and how to be, line up and be prepared for your assignment? Is that a part of the training?
No, we don't. I haven't gotten any like specific plays, like the long plays and everything. But I mean, I do know, I have some recollection, and I've heard that, some plays being called just rather be on the documentaries or, just social media, hearing certain plays, the long plays and everything. But just, also as a running back, understanding that, we have multiple hats. We pretty much have to know we're like a miniature QB. We know the line, what the line is doing. We know the second level, the linebackers, safety rotation, pass concepts to understand, where our check downs will be or whatever, and protection calls, checks on protections will depending on where where the pressure is coming from. So we gotta pretty much know everything really.
Yeah.
So just making us be aware of that and be ready for that, and also one of the things that the coach that we're working with talks about is the most important thing he thinks. I don't know what you guys think, but just being able to visualize your assignment before the play. Well, imagine all the things that could happen before, so you're not caught off guard and reacting. You can anticipate what's going to happen beforehand, and so that's kind of the thing that he was harping on to us, just being able to visualize, practice visualizing, and so
Yeah, man. It sounds like you're off to a good start. You got some good tools in place that's really going to help you in that process. You seem like a very well thought out type person that I don't think the mental aspect of the transition is going to be much of a problem for you. And that would lead me into my second to last question. I'd like to ask you, well, my last question is going to be about Urban Meyer, because I got to get an Urban Meyer recruiting story from you. But I want to ask you, just growing up as a kid, potentially having aspirations to play in the NFL, and now you're this close to making that dream happen. Is there anything that that you may be thinking about of like, what can I expect? Like, what is that going to be like the first day being in the NFL, being in NFL running back room, or being on the field with, guys you've been probably playing with on Madden or idolizing? Like, how's that processing with you, mentally? Like, are you thinking about that? Because back to what you said earlier, when it comes to fines, you can get fined for a variety of stuff. I know my first day with the Vikings, I saw all the running backs walk into the running backs room and give the running backs coach $100 each. No, $200 each. I'm like, Coach, what is that money for? They fumbled twice the day before. And it doesn't matter what running back fumbles. Each running back had to pay the running backs coach $100 each. And they fumbled twice.
Wow.
And I'm like, Coach, what do you do with that money? He was like, at the end of the year, my wife just does a big barbecue for everybody, and we put it in a pot. So, yeah, man, they'll fine you for anything. You're gonna see so much stuff. I mean, this might be a little bit too much for TV, but you might see a dice game in the locker room with $20,000 on the floor. It's crazy. But
I let them do that. They leave me.
I need to get into a locker room.
yeah, but growing up, like having that anticipation of being in the NFL. I mean, how does that feel to be this close to it? What do you expect? Like, what do you think the first day is going to be like?
It's surreal, because I don't really have any family that's been able to get that far.
Yeah.
I have a family that plays football, and so being able to, step out there, it'll be surreal. I'll be grateful, just, thinking about the journey, but understanding that I have aspirations to reach even higher. But it's definitely, I definitely think, I'm not sure exactly what the feelings will be because I haven't experienced yet, but just in my mind, and, just, I'll say, just blessed to be here. You want to make the most of it, be a good steward of it. And, hopefully the journey can, help somebody else have the courage and confidence to, work to get to that place as well. So definitely, I'll just be, worshiping. I don't know. I'll be thanking the Lord and all those that help me, get there and continue to mentor me and everything through the process. So I think it's going to be great. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah,
you definitely owe us that first interview when you experience that. That's 100%.
It's going to be fun, man. So I got to get that out of you. Urban Meyer walks into your house. The last guy we had on that was recruited by Urban Meyer said that Urban Meyer stood at the door and said, "You're not leaving this recruiting visit without committing. And if you don't commit, we're going to fight." Literally. So what was it like for you? Like Urban Meyer comes in your house. How was that getting recruited by him?
It was good. I think, I don't know who that was, but they must want him bad.
Yeah. He was a 5-star. Yeah.
Okay. Because they didn't do that. I didn't get that. Well, yeah. But it was good. I think, having a coach with that the credibility, that record that he had, and what he was able to achieve, I think was really important to me. And I looked at that and I thought that was really great. And I think his coaching style is one that brings a sense of urgency to the guys. And so I think in my recruiting process, they actually didn't offer me for a while. They were recruiting me. I felt like I had an offer, but I didn't. And I had other schools that I was looking at, but Coach Meyer, he really wanted me to come to a camp actually to see me in person, see how I move and everything. And so I did that. And by that time, it was around the end of where I wanted to end my recruiting to be, and I already knew I wanted to go there. So I went to that camp. They gave me an offer, and I committed right there. But a couple other schools I was looking at were Georgia and Auburn. I really want to go there at times, but I feel like overall, just Ohio State was the better choice, just because I felt like it would give me more of a challenge. I feel like they didn't sugarcoat anything. They didn't sell a story. you come here, you get this and this. They'll say, no, you got to come here, you got to work. It's going to be hard. You got to compete and get better. They even, um, I can't remember exactly what it was, but I know they shared with me some of the things I could even work on right now. Like, in high school, no other school, it just stood out to me. And so I said, oh, I want to go there. It's going to make me better. I feel like it's going to challenge me. And so I did that. And I'm glad I went. Also just uh, outside of football, just the alumni and the connections you're able to get, the stuff that they have in place for just building you and setting you up for uh, outside of football. When that's all said and done, because that doesn't last forever. So being able to have those connections and relationships was also great, and is also great. So, but then also, most importantly, just I felt led that the Lord was putting me in that place to be there, to go there, and so I'm glad I went. It's been a good experience.
Yeah. Hey, that's awesome, man. I love that you put God first in everything, man, because that's the most important. And you keep doing that, man, you're gonna go far, man. So I appreciate you having me on. That's all I got, Tracy.
I love that you're saying visualize. I've heard that from multiple athletes where they're saying the most important thing is to visualize because it's one of those things that you learn from football. And I know coaches, you'll agree, it's one of those lessons that stay with you for forever.
Yeah.
So thank you very much,
Yeah.
Coach Chris Williams. The floor is yours with Master Teague.
Thank you. And once again, I'll just add on. Nice to have you here, Master. We appreciate you. But I got my first things asking. I recognize the logo. I've spent some time as a scout in the CFL, and many times I walked into Michael Johnson performance there and snuck in a few sessions watching some guys. So that's the logo that I'm seeing, Michael Johnson performance, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So
Yes, sir.
that's right. Yeah, represent that for sure. Those guys do an awesome job of getting people ready. And I would just ask you, man, from some of the sessions that I've seen in that place, I would ask you as a running back, what have you? It was always fun asking running backs, what have you learned about running? I mean, everybody expects a running back to be the guy to give pointers about running, but what's one thing that you've learned from those guys that you didn't know that truly helps you when it comes to getting ready for the 40 and some other stuff?
Yeah, just feet, like um, you know, steps for certain, like the optimal amount of steps for certain amount of yards.
Mm-hmm.
The angle of your body, the mechanics. The start, even just the stance and start. You know, I think one of the things, like especially getting off, just the mechanics of your legs and feet, you just not really used to, because like a lot of times you just take off running, boom. But there's a whole like science, and I guess science to it that allows you to have the most power into the ground. Because power into the ground is an important part of creating that speed. And so making your body, you know, act in a way where you're going to get the most power into the ground. And there's a type of way to do that. So just learning that, like, just pretty much relearning how to run. Like, what, I've been running for all my life. What you talking about? But yeah, they know what they're talking about. And we even watch it on we watch guys and past combines, and they talk about their technique, and how they ran a 4.4 4.3 with bad technique.
Mm-hmm.
And they could have, if they had like perfect technique, they could have ran, who knows.
Yeah.
Even like Usain Bolt, looking at him and how his top end, back end, on the back end stretch, back end, top end speed, he could have better form on that. And his time could go down, and even more, even though he's already fastest man alive. And so just learning stuff like that just is interesting and crazy. Um, but it's those details, I think, is also getting you prepared for the next level, because you got to be a detailed player. The higher you get in whatever level in life, or whatever you want to do professionally, you got to have like more detail, because the playing field is even. You know, not like high school where you just outblow everybody, or even sometimes college where you're just better than everybody. Everybody's a lot of times on the same level. So what's gonna be able to separate you from them, and a lot of times, sometimes the little details, um, just like little like this, that can separate you from
Yeah.
somebody else.
That's right.
So
That's right. Yeah, I don't know if there's anybody out there that does it better than those guys. I mean, I know it's a lot of people that do it well, but those guys at MJP, they do an awesome job. So you are in a good place for sure. Um,
yeah,
my next question is, when I watch you play, and just from my scout's eye, I mean, I would compare what I'm seeing. You know, first thing I think is Nick Chubb, and so you know I I see a Nick Chubb style of a running back, but I think there's also some ability to make people miss too in your game. I think it seems to me that mentally you are zoned in on making sure that you're in the hole and you're making sure you're following what the pass is supposed to be at a play. But I also see that you've got some ability to kind of move it and wiggle it a little bit. So I would ask you what comparison would you make when you watch yourself? Who would you compare yourself to?
yeah. That's one. I mean, of course, it's the I always think of Nick Chubb,
Mm-hmm.
but you go way back, Tony Dorsett.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about how he ran, and uh, I would even think about that being a little bit my style.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, especially now in here, like working with, I don't know if you know Josh Hicks, working with him. Um, he's our guy on the field we're working with.
Okay.
He's really, he was, he played football. He was like more of a scat type back and
Mm-hmm.
making moves and juking and all that. I'm more, I can do that, but I'm more of a north south, just
Yeah.
run you over type.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm working on just getting my hip movement better and being able to make these shortcuts and different things, try to add another element to my game.
Yeah.
Um, more of that, I think would be really good. And I've been seeing improvements a lot, because I'm really flexible. My body, like I can stretch any type of way, but just being able to really, add that to the field, and really be able to translate that to the field. I think that's the training that we're doing with Josh Hicks on the field has really helped me to open up that
Mm-hmm.
part and be able to do that. So I'm really looking forward to just improving in that area, um, and because I got speed, like I got a lot of speed.
Yeah.
Just being able to get out in that second level and make it happen, so I can show that speed.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
that'll be great. But yeah, so that's kind of what we're working on here. So
Absolutely.
mhm.
Absolutely. Yeah. I can see it. I mean, it translates well to the pro game. There's no doubt about that. So once you get there, you're not gonna be out of place. There ain't no doubt about it. And my last question that I have for you is, you being a Tennessee guy. I mean, I grew up born and raised in Alabama, and I know you're a Tennessee guy. I mean, I always ask running backs from the South, versus running backs from the North or from the West Coast. And just a little bit of a lighter question to you, but what's have you noticed the difference between us down south guys, and how you tote the rock versus maybe some guys that are coming from different areas of the country? Is there a different mentality that you notice from southern bred running backs that you could share with us?
I mean, I'll just say more gritty, more dirty. Just like
Mm-hmm.
not a lot of finesse. Just get the
Mm-hmm.
job done and
Yeah.
go. Like I just run right through. I think for me, there's a lot of guys that are similar to me. So how I run, down there, just big, run angry,
Yeah.
hard to bring down, type back.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's kind of what I've experienced in the South. I wouldn't say I would necessarily know too much about the North, but you know, uh, I would think being cold and everything. I'm not really trying to get hit, man. I'm trying. I mean, just
Mm-hmm.
juke out of here and just make it happen that way. I'm not really trying to get hit. It's cold out here. I'm gonna get whatever. I don't know, but that's kind of my experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, what you think?
I mean, I like the word angry that you throw out there. I mean, there's a different mentality, man. The Southern guys, I mean, in my opinion, and I know Tracy's, she's a fan of the Northern guys, but I think the gritty, grimy running back from the South, is point A to point B. I mean, I don't care how many hits I got to take to make this thing happen. I think you really see a difference between how guys are raised from that very very young age and that mentality that creeps in at a young age versus what you may see from guys from other places. Now you may transfer that over and say that the quarterback position is one that maybe develops in a different way on the West Coast. But I in my years I have noticed that there are some things that are true traits based on where guys were born and raised. And tough running backs from the South is definitely one of those guys.
For sure.
Mhm.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a question. Des wants to know, why don't more running backs work more on pass protection?
Well, I'm not sure about what other running back working on too much, but they should be, and if they are, then it's just you got to work on that. That's important. That's one of the most important things. If
You got to
not
be a
the most
complete
important.
back.
Yeah, if not the most important, being a running back, being able to protect, man. And so, we worked on that all the time at Ohio State, and and so, and also just understanding in general what your assignment is, coordinating that with the O line and the running back. There's a lot of communication going on, and a lot of times these games were loud. College is loud games. Like sometimes you won't even hear the call, but you gotta have the wherewithal. You gotta have the understanding enough to look at the defense, be like, okay, there might be some pressure coming over here. I need to make sure before I get out or whatever that it's secure. And so we're that's one of the things that we're also learning, that IQ coach is talking to us about, just technique on certain blocking, whether it be lead blocking or how to set up if somebody's coming off the edge or up the middle. And one of the cool things I seen on film in the league, or watching games, where I didn't really see that in college too much, is where guys they understood that, okay, there's a backer in the A gap, I need to make sure I get them. They would even scoot way up close to the line to make sure that they're right on that guy, because that's an important part of pass pro too, just meeting the person, like just going up there and meeting them as far as you can, taking up your grass, not letting it come to you. And so that's something that I'm not even perfect at. Like, I need to work on and keep working on that. That's something that you never stop working on as a running back, pass protection. So I agree with you, man. That's got to be down pat. So
Absolutely.
Now, before we let you go, we want to know, what's your Super Bowl prediction?
yeah, so I'm rooting for Joe Burrow and the Bengals. Hopefully they can get the win on that. There's quite a few. There's like 4 or 5, I think 5 Buckeyes on there. So I gotta go with them.
There you go.
It's crazy. They've been beating the odds. beating the
Coach
odds.
Kirk Broussard is just trying to hide this big smile right now.
Now, I was going to share one thing with him before we close. The most important thing that I learned being a part of the National Football League, that I can give you as advice, the absolute most important thing is to be available, to not be hurt. That is absolutely the most important thing you can do. And the best way I've seen that kind of the best way I've seen players in the National Football League kind of increase their odds of being available as much as possible is during my time with the Lions. I worked with Reggie Bush. And one thing I know about Reggie Bush is, even on an off day when everybody else was at home doing whatever, he was always at the facility getting treatment, something with his body. His body is literally like his temple, because he always wanted to be available. And I'm sure your coach will tell you when you get to the league, the best thing you can be is available.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Like I said, you already know. I already know. It's your body is your business. That's your resume, really. And like, one of the things we had in Ohio State in the training room, durability is more important than ability. I mean, because you can have all the ability in the world, but if you're not, like you said, available and durable, then you're not going to be able to show it. And
Yeah.
so, um, yeah, so that's important. Definitely what you said. I agree.
If you're in college and you're not available, you'll still be there. But in the pros, if you're not available, you won't be there very long.
Yeah. Yeah. They were
Yeah.
telling me that in the Senior Bowl, like you probably know, but like the guys came back that were in the Senior Bowl, they came back and they were talking about, man, so a couple guys got hurt or they couldn't go, they were shipped out right then and there. So that was like they're trying to like get your mind prepared, for kind of maybe how it's going to be in the league. So
And bro, when they ship you out, literally they will have a talk with you, and right when that talk is over with, they'll have all your stuff packed up, plane ticket bought, and somebody waiting to take you to the airport. They get you out of town fast.
Well, we're not going to talk about that because
we never experienced that.
We're not going to visualize anything.
Well, I want him to be prepared.
That's right.
Yeah, I need to know.
Yeah. Well, like I said at the beginning of this interview, Master, you are so inspiring and so motivating, and just telling us your story. I know that you're very busy with the media lately because people are gravitating to you because not only are you a prospect for the NFL, it's your story, and want to say thank you very much for joining the Play Callers pod and just sharing everything about you with us and our listeners and viewers.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Always grateful for the opportunity to come and talk and share. So really appreciate it.
Yeah,
well,
thank you for coming on.
Absolutely.
Thank you. We'll post all your links, and good luck. We are definitely rooting for you, and we can't wait to have that first interview.
That's right.
All righty.
We're visualizing it. Okay, we're putting it out there.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Good luck, young man. Good luck.
So that was a great interview. I just adore him, and I love his message that he has.
Absolutely.
His parents did a good job.
They did. They absolutely did. Now, this is our time to talk about more football. We're going to get right to it. The 2022 Pro Bowl, AFC wins over the NFC. It definitely wasn't like the 2006 Sean Taylor football, was it? When he just took that hit right on Brian Moorman. And I mean, Brian got back up. I was watching the hit again, and I'm like, wow, this doesn't look like what I saw on Saturday. Saturday was boring. It was just like they were playing tag, and they weren't even running. They were just
I've never seen it that bad.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
I mean, my thing is this: they're accepting a paycheck. You got to play.
Yeah.
If you're not going to play, don't get dressed. I mean, it's not a walkthrough. If they were going to play like that, they shouldn't have put on shoulder pads, and they shouldn't have got padded up. It should have been a walkthrough.
J.J. Watt, he does joke about that. He said that he has been through more intense walkthroughs than what Sunday was.
Yeah, that was pathetic.
Yeah.
Even Dion came out on that one.
He did.
Yeah. It was,
I mean, what do you think, Coach? I mean, they talking about they don't want to get hurt and all this stuff. Don't play.
Yeah, I mean that's. I mean, I think most people from our day of football are going to be saying the same thing. I mean, when you put on the pads, you play the game, man, and you don't think about getting hurt. I mean, it would be horrible for somebody to get hurt, but if it's that much on your mind, you probably shouldn't play. But the NFL is going to have to do something about it. I know they were those charitable contributions they were going to make was supposed to motivate the guys, but they got to figure out something to get this thing going again, because otherwise it's going to be hard to show that to people too many times. That's for sure.
Well, one player did come out, and I don't have the article in front of me, but he was saying that a lot of players are still recovering from their season.
Don't dress.
Yeah.
Don't accept a paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you taking a paycheck to get out there and do that?
Yeah.
Okay, you're hurt. I get it. Fine.
Mm-hmm.
Don't dress.
Well, they're just saying that their body's still in recovery from playing a full season, not so much that they're hurt.
Well, don't dress.
Okay.
It's
so what
very
do you think of the
simple.
Diggs brothers?
It's so simple. Just don't dress.
Yeah, that's pretty cut and dry for sure.
It was kind of cool to see the Dig brothers. Like that was a moment, right? That was
Yeah.
positive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was fun to watch for sure. You know, there were a lot of good things, a lot of good stories, a lot of good reasons to want to watch the game. It's just wasn't much of a game.
I'm glad the game has moved to Vegas. I thought that would be more of an incentive for players to want to come because you get to kind of hang out in Vegas. I mean, it's Vegas versus Orlando. You know,
I wish they'd take it back to Hawaii, Coach. I know a lot of those guys back in the day you use that as vacation for family and all that stuff. I mean, I'd like to see them take it back to Hawaii and get back to some of that old school stuff.
Yeah, Hawaii was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it definitely was not that 2006 game that I recalled and that hit. And I watched it a few times today because it kept pulling it, like restarting it. I mean, it was quite the hit. But he got right back up. Brian, just like he bounced back up. And I'm thinking, well, if he can bounce back up with having a tank, like literally just take him out.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty impressive for a kicker or a punter or whatever he is.
Right. Yeah. So
a Sean Taylor hit, that's like the hardest hitting player in the history of football besides probably Ronnie Lott, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people joking about the Pro Bowl, and I think people are just speechless.
It seems like compared to the NBA All-Star game, what you'll see, the NBA does such a better job of promoting their league in general and promoting their NBA All-Star game is promoted far better than the Pro Bowl is. Mm-hmm. You know, NBA All-Star, you got tons of concerts and performances and parties around town, but the Pro Bowl is kind of it's not like that. It's kind of dead.
Yeah. I didn't realize what I was watching at first. I was actually honest. I was really shocked, and I stared at the TV like I'm pretty sure that guy's just jogging, and that's not even a jog. Like
I turned it off.
Yeah. Yeah, so what can we say? But let's move along. It is Super Bowl week.
Yeah.
Yay!
Been waiting.
I can't. It's bittersweet because it's like, well, what do we do after this? Like I found like this weekend, I was a little agitated because I didn't know what to do with myself because I was so used to, you know, doing my picks and watching ball, and it was hard. But we talked about our predictions. Coach Kirk Broussard, you said Bengals. Coach Chris Williams and myself said Rams.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still sticking with the Rams. I'm not switching. Are you gentlemen locking it in stone? We're good to go.
The only thing that kind of scares me with my prediction is the Rams defensive line is pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
And we know the Bengals have had issues on the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we've seen many Super Bowls where the defensive line dominated and that determined the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason I picked the Bengals is because I want the Bengals to win.
Yeah.
But right. I don't think the Bengals are a better team than the Rams.
But you can't pick on heart.
I'm picking just because I don't want Matthew Stafford to win a Super Bowl.
Yes, and I did make a note of this. The Bengals defense should be able to force Stafford into some mistakes, and that will be the difference of the game. But do you think that can happen?
It's a good question.
I mean, Odell wants this too, so.
Yeah.
Well, why are you rolling your eyes?
He's overrated.
Wow.
Why? Okay, why? Why would you say he's overrated? I mean, I think he's proved what he had to prove.
What has he done since he's been in the NFL?
He's played with bad quarterbacks. That's for sure.
Okay. There's a lot of players that have played with bad quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say bad quarterbacks. He's played with average quarterbacks. Is that fair?
If you add Eli Manning into it, I'll give you average.
You think Eli's average?
No. I said if you add Eli to his group of guys that he's played with,
okay,
I would say the overall group would be average. But he's played with some guys, man.
Yeah,
I think he's overrated. I don't think he's done anything since he's been in the NFL. He's the Baker Mayfield of wide receivers. He's more hype than he is good.
What? Really?
And all those spectacular catches. Have you seen the gloves that they wear today? Have you seen these gloves?
What, do they have Velcro on them?
The ball sticks to the gloves.
I mean, we give
Oh,
you.
come on! You're telling me that if you were catching a ball like that, you're just going to catch it because the gloves are going to make it stick.
Okay, Coach Williams, tell her. Have you seen the gloves today?
The gloves, they call it tackified. I mean, and the gloves are clearly tackified, right? I mean, the balls do stick, but you still got to be able to, a guy who can't catch is probably not going to catch that ball because the gloves are sticky in layman's terms, right? So, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, but I wouldn't say he's overrated, Coach. I mean, honestly, he's played with some pretty subpar quarterbacks, man. And for him to get with Matthew Stafford, I mean, look what he's done in a short period of time. And the leading receiver in the NFC Championship game, 9 catches over 100 something yards. I mean, he should stay put with Matt Stafford, even if there's an issue with the contract. I mean, the contract's going to become an issue. Maybe he may have to take less money because that team's already kind of over getting close to being over the cap, and they're gonna have to make some moves cap wise. But if I'm Odell Beckham, I play more than 1 year with a guy like Matthew Stafford so I can get that stigma off my back, because you're not the only one that thinks that way. There's a lot of reasons why people would think that way, but if that guy stays with Stafford, then I think a year from now you'll be saying something different about him.
My thing is this.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's a bad receiver.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even saying he's an average receiver. I'm saying he's a good receiver, but the hype around him is like a Hall of Fame future receiver. He has done nothing to be on a Hall of Fame level. He has good talent. Does he have Hall of Fame talent? Potentially, but there's something holding that back, because, and I agree with you, he has had some quarterback issues, but there's something holding him back from these Hall of Fame hype that he's always had around him. Mm-hmm. He's always had a Hall of Fame hype, but he's always had average to good productivity. And part of it is quarterback. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But with Eli, I thought Eli,
Yeah, Eli makes his group better. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I would come. The last thing I'll say is if you compare him to Devontae Adams, coming out of college, where they were, I think if Odell Beckham gets with an Aaron Rodgers like the Devontae Adams does, then his development looks totally different. Devontae Adams looks to me like the best wide receiver in the league, but that development comes from being with a guy, like Aaron Rodgers. I mean, where you go and where you get drafted and who you have to play with says a lot about how you're going to develop. And I think but that kid's got number one receiver skill level. I mean, it's just we'll see in the next couple of years if he stays in LA.
I think Devontae is a lot better. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay. Nothing.
I mean, he has top 5 receiver height, but if you go up to many people right now and say, "Give me the top 5 receivers in the NFL," they wouldn't. A lot of them wouldn't have him in their top 5.
Well, they probably will after next weekend when they win.
Yeah.
He could prove me wrong next weekend. Maybe be Super Bowl MVP.
Maybe.
Yeah. You never know. He's motivated now. That's a good thing.
Yeah. He's a new Odell.
Mm-hmm.
So, he's going to be a daddy. He's living a good, he posted. Yeah. So I think he's changed.
He's good at picking women. He's got a pretty one.
He's an IG model expert.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, moving along to another headline that I want to get your opinion on. Brian Flores, the former Miami Dolphins head coach. Everybody knows what's going on. This is a big issue. So he's filed a class action lawsuit against the NFL and 3 teams allegedly with racial discrimination in the league's hiring process. So I'm wondering what the NFL players are going to do about it. Do you feel like the players are backing him up? Do you feel like, because I'm not really hearing too much about the players, and I thought when I first heard this, they were going to have his back. Coaches, what are your thoughts on this whole situation? Like, whatever you're comfortable with in your response, but I mean, this isn't going to go away. And there's been text messages. I know we've been in our chat. We communicate on a daily basis about what's going on. Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'll go first, Coach. I mean, I won't stay long on it, but I'll say the only thing that bothers me about it is just the question that you're asking. I mean, it's, you know, how do you get people to get behind the cause? I mean, we all know that there's a problem. I mean, Coach and I have been, you know, 20 years messing around in the pro football game as black guys trying to make moves as coaches and scouts, and you know, there's always stuff that we run into that we know for a fact happened because there maybe it wasn't so much the, you know, you're black, I'm gonna keep it from you, but you always can see some stuff happening maybe because that guy's more comfortable with somebody who's like him or looks like him, and so you end up losing out in a lot of cases. But I'm just upset that I don't think that we're gonna see people stand up and support the way that we should see people stand up and support. I don't necessarily think the players are gonna do it, you know, and I'm really upset, to be honest with you. You know, I remember an old picture of you know, when Muhammad Ali was, you know, maybe I'm, you know, of course we all weren't. I mean, we weren't born then, but I've seen the picture of Muhammad Ali, and I think it had to do with him and his military status, and he was making a statement, and behind Muhammad Ali, there was Jim Brown, there was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, there was Bill Russell, there was every star black athlete of that moment was behind Muhammad Ali, trying to show solidarity and support. And I just hate the fact that we don't see that same sort of thing today. And I wish that some of the prominent coaches, you know, whether they be black college coaches, black former NFL coaches, current black NFL coaches, I just wish that we could see everybody gather in numbers and get behind the cause, because there's nothing to be afraid of, you know, when you do stuff as a group. When you do things as a group, it's tougher for people to, you know, to shoot at you, right? So I think I'm just disappointed in that. I don't think we're going to see that, and I just think it's a shame that we may not see that.
Yeah, well, that was my first thing when I've been following this story is the
Mhm.
lack of support that he is getting. And he
Yeah.
was probably told by a lot of people, you need to do this.
Hmm.
You got to, you know, put the spotlight on this situation. And he's not getting the backup that I think that he may have thought he was getting for
Yeah.
whatever reason. I don't know if people are scared because,
Well,
oh, what if I talk, and you know, what if I get backlash?
yeah.
Um, yeah, you're right. We're not seeing this.
Mhm.
Coach Kirk Broussard, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, the NFL is a very hard league to crack into. And once you do obtain a position in the National Football League, one thing I experienced, it felt like everyone was just so afraid to be themselves within an NFL organization because they didn't want to rock the boat. Not just minority coaches, but all coaches. It just felt like the experience there, everyone felt like they were always walking on eggshells, you know, just hyper focused on their job 24/7. It was never really a loose atmosphere. It was very rarely a loose atmosphere to actually, even when you weren't working, if we were just having lunch, it felt tight, you know, if you can understand that. And then my take on the experience of minority coaches not getting fair opportunities for jobs, I know it exists. Like, I've experienced it. It's one of the reasons why I'm no longer a part of that league or a part of football in general. It's so much favoritism, buddy. I'm gonna hire my buddy. I'm gonna hire someone I'm comfortable with that looks like me, even if he's not the most qualified. And I look all over the NFL coaching staffs today, and I see a lot of coaches, and I study their history and their background, and I investigate where they've been, who they've worked with, how they were in those organizations. And I see so many coaches that are in positions that are undeserving, and a lot of the coaches that are sitting out that are more qualified. And it's just difficult to continue to go to these different NFL functions and try to get jobs or get hired when you know that you're not going to get a fair shake. And I've experienced exactly what Flores experienced, where I interviewed for a job and then I got a call back and had a second interview. And then I got a call back. They said they had 10 candidates. I'm not going to name the team. And then I got a call back and said I was one of the final 2 candidates. And then I got a call from on the final day, and they told me that I had the best interview. He told me I had the best interview, but they were going to hire the other guy because he had direct ties to the staff. And I had no ties to the staff. And I understand when I first started coaching, I had issues as far as, I needed to work on my craft a little bit more. I needed to become a better coach. And I recognized that. And I eat, sleep, breathe football to improve my craft. I went to all the clinics. I went to Belichick's clinic. I've been to Gruden's clinic. I've been to Urban's clinics. And I studied these guys, and I studied the craft of teaching on the field and in the classroom. And I improved, and I got a lot better. And I was so confident in my ability. And then I positioned myself to get these opportunities to get hired with these organizations. And it's weird. I felt like I got the most help from coaches that did not look like me. I felt like all of the coaches that look like me, not all, definitely not all. There's a handful that were very helpful to me. But a lot of the coaches that looked like me ran away from helping me. Even though I was a young, hungry, qualified coach, good person, Christian person, do all the right things. I felt like on that level, again, it's so difficult to attain a job. So everyone's so tight. And then minority coaches are even more tight because it's like, I'm in this position. I don't want no one else to rock the boat and mess up what I got.
Oh, okay.
And that's it. So I felt like I got the least amount of help from coaches that look like me. And I felt like, again, to go back on what Flores is complaining about, there was another position I interviewed for. And I know for a fact during my interview that they had already decided who they were going to hire. Because through the grapevine, I made some phone calls and I found out this guy had already got the job and he didn't look like me. But they still had my interview scheduled for later on in that week. And I've had a lot of NFL interviews. And I'm not going to say all of them I had a negative experience, but enough for me to comment about, that there is unfairness, there is injustice. And it's a shame because you look at the league's like 85% minority players. And we can't get a few coaching jobs as a head coach. And it's already hard enough, like I said, to get in the NFL as a player or a coach. I think it's even more harder as a coach. And so now you got to deal with your skin color as well. And that's all I got to say.
Yeah.
I got to ask you this, Coach, just real quick. I won't take long, but if the small amount of backlash that we're seeing now is probably going to cause Houston to hire Lovie Smith if they haven't already done it, right? Lovie Smith wasn't a guy that's really in the head coaching cycle anymore, but this would clearly be a move that Houston's going to make to kind of try to appease or help the NFL appease what people are complaining about. So I would just say if this little bit of backlash could cause that to happen, imagine what could happen if all the players got behind it, all the coaches got behind it, and we really started making some noise about it, what could happen and what mountains could move if that happens. So for whatever that's worth, I think we may be missing the boat. We're going to take a little bit of a small pacifier, and but if we get behind this thing, it would be something that would take off. And I don't predict that we're going to see that happen.
Yeah, I agree.
There was about an hour ago, right before we started, Texans hire former Bears Buccaneers coach Lovie Smith as their new head coach.
Yep.
That was the breaking news as we came on. So
there were so many situations where I was told that I was either the most qualified person up for the position or I had the best interview. And the person that got the job was someone's nephew or someone's grandson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. And you know what? It's unfortunate. It happens all across the board, no matter what industry you're in.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Eric B should be coming to the Saints. That's what Lee is.
I hope so. I hope so, Lee. I always said I wish my grandfather was an NFL coach. I used to tell my granddad, why didn't you go become an NFL coach? Then I would have a easier time with this.
And what was his response?
He's not a football guy. He likes it, but he's not enough.
Well, we'll definitely be following this storyline for the next little bit, and hopefully, I really do hope that more people they have his back, because you know what, he needs all the support, and
I mean,
if
the
players don't
NBA
get behind him,
the NBA doesn't have that problem. Look at the NBA; they have a lot of minority coaches.
Mhm.
Yeah. Like I said, it just it would definitely
But
have more of a presence if the players could get behind him.
I agree with something I heard earlier this week. We're trying to change it from the bottom up, and we're going to have to figure out how to get ownership to change it from the top down. There's enough minorities with money that can form a group and buy a team if they allow minorities to buy a team.
Interesting. Well, we'll definitely be following this headline. And of course, the next time that we meet up in 1 week, we will be discussing the Super Bowl. So we already know who's going with who. And I can't wait to discuss it. So
Are we going live? Are you going to beat your country? Are you going to sneak across the border and we're going to go to the Super Bowl and do it live?
I would love to.
Come on, man.
Man, 2 years in a row, 2 years straight, I got screwed because of COVID.
Well, listen, have you seen the Super Bowl ticket prices? I posted them earlier this week.
Yeah. And there was the Bengals fan, that 86-year-old.
Mhm.
He wanted to go, and he obviously could not afford it. There was a GoFundMe page, and one of the players, I've just recently, I read it at 3:30 this morning, and now one of the players, they set him up. He's going to the Super Bowl.
Nice.
But there was also a GoFundMe page. But yeah, the lowest ticketed price a few days ago, I think, was like $6,000 or $7,000.
Unbelievable.
So I'm gonna have to do more than sell my soul to get a Super Bowl ticket right about now. But yes, we can go live. We can do whatever you guys want. But definitely, we will be recapping next Monday night. We've already put our predictions in, and it will be very interesting because I'm definitely looking forward to this. I hope it's not a blowout. I hope that it is a game, and I think you guys could all agree. We could all agree that this season, and especially the last couple weeks, there has been a game.
Yeah.
It has been a show. So
Absolutely.
It's going to be a close game, and we know the Bengals have a terrific kicker. I'm just saying.
Yes. And you know I love my kickers. So
Yeah.
So anyways, okay, well, guys, you enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you so much. And thank you to Master, who joined us earlier. If you are watching this on a replay and if you have any questions or comments, please post and we will get back to you. Someone will reach out to you. And if we don't hear from you, we will see you next week, the same time, same place. Thanks for tuning in to the Play Callers Pod. Have a great week.
Guys, have a good week.